So in the last couple of weeks, unfortunately, Christy's had to take some time off from the band, and that has left the Cooper Collective with a little bit of, how can I say it, logistical problems in actually committing to the remainder gigs of 2022. Week last Wednesday, we got the news that Christy won't be with us for a short time. And we had a gig almost like within a few days after being informed of that, which to be honest, it's one of those things, it really is. And I'm not a negative person, I'm generally a positive person, and I really, really am. And the question being was, could we possibly do the gig with somebody else 3 days later? It was almost impossible in finding somebody in such a short time scale, and equally give them time to learn the set. Most of the songs in our set will be familiar anyway, but it's a big ask. It really is a big ask. And the thing is, I don't like letting venues down if I can possibly help it, and I'd like to try and avoid it. But if there's no workaround solution, what can we possibly do? So we pulled the plug on that gig in Blackpool. We had no alternatives, contacted the venue by Facebook Messenger, which is what we've spoken on before, contacted them by phone, told them we couldn't do the gig. And then there's a sorting out the social media side of it all as well, because we don't want you guys who follow the Cooper Collective to turn up to a venue in the area and find we're not on. For us, in terms of our social media, it's really us letting you guys know as soon as we can what the band is doing. I'm speaking to you now on the Friday. Tomorrow night is Saturday, and we've got a big gig at the Fleetwood Marine Hall in Lancashire, and it's a big gig and it's a big hall and it's a big professional stage. We didn't have anybody to front the band until probably about a week ago. So again, we could have considered cancelling the gig, but then that lets down the promoters. Again, we've been promoting it on social media. It's if I can find a workaround solution to sorting these things out where everybody's happy, then that's what I'll try and do. The simple option is to cancel these things. But for me, I've always been a problem solver. I've always wanted to basically sort of get stuck in and try and find alternatives if we can. And after a few phone calls, I managed to speak to an old friend of mine, Kate Ferris. I've known her for many, many years. In fact, I must have known her for about 40 years. I'm 53 now. And we used to sing together in Charlotte Dawson's or Lottie Dawson's choir at Fleetwood, where we did stage musicals, ironically, at the Marine Hall at Fleetwood. And we did this for many, many years, and Kate's got a great voice, and she basically performs in a duo called Chic. I naturally sort of reached out to Kate thinking, do you know, our material is possibly a similar kind of thing to what Chic would do. But there's obviously a bit more heavier stuff in there with it being a five-piece band, whereas their duo is more like a function kind of wedding kind of vibe kind of thing. I reached out to Kate. Now, just talking about the Marine Hall and Charlotte Dawson's, we spent years having singing lessons, so I've got to admit, I'm not the best band singer in the world, but back in the day, you know, I was delivering solo parts in Les Miserables and West Side Story and things like that, and so did Kate. So we've got a lot of experience of being on the stage in front of people and delivering these key performances. Now, here's a little bit of information for you. Alfie Boe was also on stage with us at the same time. Alfie Boe was on that Marine Hall stage at Fleetwood, and if you ever see me in a pub, I've got a great tale to tell you, which I'm not going to share with anybody online at all. And it'll make you laugh, it'll really make you laugh. But if you do see me, ask me about that story. Okay, so I reached out to Kate Ferris, and there's a lot of conversations going backwards and forwards between Kate and I, and equally between myself and the band. And my job really is to try and keep everybody informed and up to date, but not just between the band and Kate and Emma, but equally the promoters, the venue. We've got Tony Mitchell, who's the absolute fabulous sound engineer, and he is responsible for the best sound that I know of. And he did our sound in blown vinyl for a number of years as well. And he does a really good job. And the key thing here is to basically keep in touch with these people, keep them up to date about what's happening, and being 100% transparent with people and trying to make it all work. We've got Kate, who's shown interest, I've sent her the set list. Norman's put together the, we record all our gigs, which is what we do. We use it to basically look at how we performed and if there's any improvements we can make. So what we did, with Norman's help, was fire across all our audio recordings from the last gig. Kate's got the set list, she's got the live audio recordings of us performing the gigs, and what she said, there's a lot of workload there in such a small space of time. And I have to say, I have to agree with that, and it is a big ask, it really is a big ask. So when you've got, say, almost 30 songs sort of dumped on your desk, and all these audio recordings, and you've basically got just over a week to look at them. They've got their own material to look at and their own material to perform and rehearse for their gigs. Okay, I've looked at the set list, listened to the recordings, there's a lot of material there. How about bringing in Emma into the fold as well? And that way we can share the demand, the workload. And I thought that's a fantastic idea. And I put it to the band and the band said, yep, that's great. Fantastic, let's work with that. Norm and I went to meet the girls, their rehearsal studios in Polton, and we met with them, we went through the set list. I have to say, I was absolutely blown away by Emma and Kate. They know what they're doing. This was the first time I was meeting Emma. Emma's on the same level. They work very well in terms of singing and doing things correctly in terms of harmonies, the breathing and all the rest of it. And I have to say, I was playing away and Norman, and I got a bit of eye contact with Norman thinking, this is really good. And it's just a massive thank you to Kate and Emma for basically putting themselves out to help us in doing this gig on Saturday night. And I really want to thank you guys for doing that, I really do. We're not there yet. But I've now got to a little bit of a stage in the last sort of week and a half where I can relax a bit now, where the last sort of 7 days certainly, it has been a little bit up here. Not in terms of sort of panic or anything, but in terms of maintenance, contacting people. I've been to visit Tony Mitchell, the sound engineer, to talk through the different options on the night, which he appreciated, which is really good. I've spoken to the promoters in detail about what we propose for tomorrow night. Kate came up with another fantastic suggestion which the organisers loved. So what they're going to do is basically do a 15-minute set of what they do in amongst our normal Cooper Collective set. So what I'm thinking is that tomorrow night, what you may see if you're at the Marine Hall at Fleetwood tomorrow night, which I hope you are, be fantastic if you could, the Cooper Collective, fronted by Kate and Emma from Chic. We will deliver the first 45-minute set. We'll probably have a 30-minute break, and then I'll suggest that Chic come on and do their 15-minute set and then reintroduce the main band back to the stage to finish off for the night. And I think that will basically have it all sorted out. And I think that's really good, to be honest, and I think it'll work really, really well. So the plan at the minute, and to be honest guys, I have been playing through the set. I've been a bit sort of, how can I put it, in amongst all the administration of organising all this and getting things boxed off. I have been able to play guitar, and I'm just looking at my guitars now. Once I've pressed that off button, I'll be straight onto my guitars again to actually just make sure I know what I'm doing to the best standard that I can do. And that's what we'll be doing in the next few minutes. So what we have tomorrow, we have a further rehearsal with the girls tomorrow, with the Cooper Collective at their rehearsal rooms. That's happening tomorrow afternoon. Then we're off to the venue for about 5 p.m. to set up and sound check with Tony. And then what we'll do is we'll take it from there. So what I'm kind of hoping is, guys, is even though I've sat here and waffled on, I'm hoping that you'll sort of find it a little bit interesting in terms of maintaining a band and trying to push forward through whatever blockers sort of come your way, because they do, guys, they do come your way. And, you know, and the Coopers is basically a band that wants to build. We want this to evolve. We want to do stuff to a higher standard, and that will open different doors and different opportunities. And that's exactly what we want to do. So it has been a bit of a tough slog, this, guys. It's probably going to be a 2-part story. I'm going to try and see if I can do a little bit of filming, at tomorrow's rehearsal. I've got guitars to set up. The Firebird's going out with me tomorrow night. There's plenty of room, plenty of space for that, so I've got to do a setup on the Firebird. I'm taking the Les Paul Gold Top and I'm taking the Black Strat, so it's 3 guitars tomorrow night, guys. It's going to be my normal Laney rig and pedal board just to keep it simple because I know it works well, but I was thinking of taking an extra cab. I've not decided yet, but I might just take a second 2B12 cab just to give me a little bit of, it's a bit of a personal perversion really, all this gear stuff in it, you know, so if I can set up another cab as well, just using the 1 amp, then that'll do nicely. But in the future, I might do stereo, I might do wet, dry, wet, because we've got the 3 heads now, but I've only got 2 cabs, so I'll probably need to source the Hayden 2B12 cab that I mentioned a month or 2 ago, so I can use 3 rigs at the same time. So anyway, so that's an update for you guys. It's been a little bit of a dive into the world of bands and trying to make things work. We've got couple of gigs left towards the end of the year. I'm trying to manage a singer for that one at the minute. Who knows, perhaps after tomorrow night, Kate and Emma, they might want to do those 2 gigs towards the end of the year, and I'll let you know how we get on. So stay tuned, guys, and I've got to go and play some guitar. Oh, and there's always there's always time in the day for a brew. Cracking.